Just to remind you of the news that we've got in the past few minutes or so, one person has been killed in this large explosion in the centre of the Norwegian capital, Oslo. We understand this is a blast that happened near government buildings, near the office of the Prime Minister Jens Stoltenberg, and also the all-important oil and gas ministry in Oslo. We are being told, though, that the Prime Minister is absolutely safe, not injured in any way at all. You can see for yourself from these pictures the buildings have had their windows broken out, they've been blown out, and clearly there is a huge... We are getting various reports of the tangled wreckage of a car being outside.
There is a flipped over car there, yes there is, but it could have flipped over in the blast. So there's nothing on fire at this point, and they have come out with no concrete thoughts on what could have caused the blast. In fact, some have said it could have been outside the building, some say it could have been inside the building. So there's very little known about what could have caused it.
And how many people have been injured, do we know?
There's only one report that I've seen that about 8 people may have been taken away. This, you have to remember, occurred during a very quiet period. It's July, it's holiday season, it's in the government headquarters where most people are away, obviously, but it's a politically sensitive thing to attack the headquarters, so it's very symbolic. But the damage at this point seems limited, but there are no official counts of anyone being killed at this point.
Valeria, stay with us. Frank Gardner, our security correspondent, is still here. Frank, I know you're monitoring a lot of the news wires and also the social networking sites. What are you reading and hearing?
Well, I think it's important to say that still nothing is confirmed. One expert on this has said that the working assumption, and I won't say which country this person is in, the working assumption is that it probably was a bomb, but options, people are keeping an open mind. Somebody, an eyewitness, has said that they believe that it was gas canisters, it was some kind of IED, improvised explosive device. Again, this is slightly dangerous stuff because until the Norwegian police investigators get in there and do a proper forensic analysis, they look at the direction of the blast, they take away the remains from the kind of ground zero where the blast actually came from and analyze the explosive to see if it's, is it military explosive? Was it gas? Was it, who knows yet? So I think we've got to be a little bit cautious at this stage. What I would say is this, though. If it turns out this was terrorism, there are a number of possible leads or directions or causes that would have come, reasons why this might have happened. The most obvious is the presence of Norwegian troops in Afghanistan. They've been there for 10 years. They've had special forces up in the mountains hunting down al-Qaeda. They've had other groups involved in more conventional forms of warfare in Afghanistan for quite some time. The second is cartoons. A number of jihadists tend to, as Quilliam put it, Quilliam being the counter-extremist think tank, that they tend to conflate the Scandinavian countries. And a lot of, some people, if they were sitting in a cafe in Bureda in Saudi Arabia, might think, well, Norway, Denmark, they're all the same. I hope that's not in any way meant to be patronizing, but it's just in the same way as we get confused between Central Asian countries sometimes. The third possibility, and this is all, I've got to be careful here because this is speculation. Some people are suggesting it could be related to the recent labeling of a certain activist as an enemy of the state in Norway. I'm not even going to mention that person. I think we're going to have to wait and see. Let's see who claims responsibility for this, if it turns up on a credible al-Qaeda website, or indeed, most importantly, let's see what the Norwegian authorities say. I think I'm probably not going to say anything more because otherwise we're just going to go down alleys that, where we're on shaky ground. And
what has also been slightly unclear so far, Frank, is exactly where this explosion happened. We had a Reuters correspondent, Alistair Doyle, just telling us earlier it wasn't that tabloid paper, VG, that was targeted. That was behind the buildings. And in fact, this happened outside the Prime Minister's office. The office houses the Prime Minister and also the all-important oil and gas ministry, because, of course, Norway has this massive reserve of gas. That's where a lot of its wealth comes from. So it's a very important ministry. And he was saying clearly it was there. But remind us again of what happens now. There is a strong counter-terrorism unit there. What are they doing now? Are they waiting for this claim of responsibility before they comment further? Are they looking into exactly what happened?
Well, just to recap, I mean, what happens now is, as in any situation like this, the first priority is the safety of the public. So the Norwegian police will be clearing people away from it. These pictures were taken a short while ago. They're not live. So they will be clearing people away from it. They will be putting up cordons. They'll be searching for second devices. There was an initial report, which turned out to be unfounded, that there was more than one blast. At the moment, as we understand it, there is only one blast. They will then bring in a forensic team who are probably already on the ground, taking samples, scrapings of residue from the center of the blast, which one report said it was a car. They will be taking away any evidence they can. They'll be calling in eyewitnesses. They'll be looking at any CCTV to see if anybody was acting suspiciously. They'll be going over all of that footage. All of this takes a lot of time. Obviously, it's just coming up to the European weekend, up to the Norwegian weekend. Leave will be cancelled for any investigators. Any counter-terrorism officials will, cancel their nice little weekend fishing in the country and be getting themselves back to Oslo to work on this. Probably there'll be a statement by this evening by the Norwegian government, probably the Prime Minister, to sort of a kind of state of the nation type, that is, if it's terrorism. I would think that if it wasn't terrorism, we would have heard about it by now. I think they, if you remember what it was like at 7/7 in the London bombings here, there was that period of confusion, that period of doubt, where initially people thought, oh my goodness, there's been a gas explosion in the London Underground, and then gradually people realised the longer it went on without anybody just saying it wasn't terrorism, the more likely it became.